Hey, comic book fans, welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. And guys, you're with me, of course, Mike Spider Slayer. Are you ready to embark on another comic book review? I am. Today's issue, we're going to talk about What If A versus X. That's right, Avengers versus X-Men, What If. The last issue was already better than the original series because you got to see Storm die. Dude, that was sweet. And you get to see Magneto just destroy the helicarrier with his magnetism power, or his mutant power, or whatever you want to call it, which was badass too. So then by the end of the issue, you're like all psyched, and you're like, hell yeah! And then you get this issue, and you're like, oh, it's got to be just as awesome, right? It was. This was a good issue. I'm not as pumped after reading it because I've already set my expectations very high because of what they showed in the first issue. So in this issue, I'm kind of like expecting that to happen again. So do we get that? I don't know. I'll show you. I'll tell you. I'll let you know what goes on. The writer of this book is Jimmy Palmiotti. If you guys are not familiar with his work, the one thing that he does do right now is Batwing, which is doing phenomenally right now for DC. He's totally turned that series around. And if you guys haven't checked that out, check out Batwing. It's great, great story. The next part is our pencils, who's done by George Molina. And the artwork is not always best or consistent or detailed as I would like it in this particular issue. For example, you have lack of detail and expression on characters' faces. For me, it's a huge deal. Okay, here you get some awkwardness with, you see that in Colossus there as he's running, as the helicarrier just plummets to the ground, and then you also get some weirdness out of Magneto. He just looks like an elderly old fart and weak and pathetic. That's just the way his facial expressions are looking to me. But at times, the art does satisfy when you come across, like, I guess when the Phoenix comes here, you get a great page right here with Thor and Phoenix, and and a couple of these pages here too. I thought, which was pretty interesting. So not bad, I guess. So what does the story entail? How does the story stack up to the last one? It's great. It's a lot better than the original series. It's like getting rid of all the nonsense dialogue that was within Avengers vs. X-Men and kind of cutting it down into 4 issues, and has a lot of action. So that's what makes this series better as well. And like I said, the uncertainty of certain characters. You never know what's going to happen in this series. That's what makes it better as well. The story itself now, well, you get to see it. You get to see our heroes, which consists of Miss Marvel, Vision, Nova, and Thor. They're the ones that are going into space, and they're going to intercept the Phoenix Force before it actually heads towards Earth. Just like in the original series, except there's a few different characters this time. So they're going to stop the Phoenix Force. And in the last issue, you get to see Magneto. He basically destroys the helicarrier, and you get to see the ramifications after that helicarrier has been destroyed. You get to see this right here. Boom. It's like, holy shit, the whole thing's destroyed. You got Avengers falling out of the sky all over the place. Like, damn, who's going to survive? Who's going to die? And Magneto's just sitting there watching the whole thing, which is great. He's just like, ha ha, you guys are a bunch of losers. You're dead. And the next thing you see, you got Hope is all crying like a little whiny baby because Storm is dead. And, it is a big deal for these characters in this. They're not supposed to fight each other. And, again, Magneto has no remorse. He's like, we got to find the Phoenix Force. Bring Hope. Emma, you come along, And meanwhile, everyone's just falling and dying and all kinds of stuff. And you're like, oh, dude, that's crazy stuff. You get to witness a couple other Avenger deaths in this actual issue. And I'll give you 2. I won't say their names in the beginning of the issue. But one I'm going to spoil because you got to kind of understand what's going on. So 2 Avengers die after the helicarrier explodes. Next, you see this war go out between Wolverine and Namor because they're the ones who really started the whole thing. Really fast paced, really action. It won't take you long to read this issue at all. Um, you get to see Iron Man and Cyclops, go toe to toe with each other. And Captain America steps in and, says, you know what, we got to grow up here. We got to find out what's going on. We got to solve this issue. The main thing is the Phoenix Force. We got to stop it. So the next thing you get to see is you get to see our heroes that are in space going to deal with that Phoenix Force. And as the issue goes along, we see Thor is the one that's going to try to stop the whole thing. Okay, he's going to take on that Phoenix Force head on right here. Bam! You see it. Next thing what happens, well, if you don't want it to be spoiled, just fast forward this for about 10 seconds, okay? Here we go right now. Next thing you see is Thor. He goes head toe to toe with the Phoenix Force. The hammer gets destroyed and Thor dies. And you're like, oh shit. And that's what happens. Okay. Phoenix Force is weakened after the whole thing. And our other heroes go in and they want to go and try to continue to destroy the Phoenix Force. But eventually they get possessed. So you think, oh shit, it's going to be the Phoenix 5 or Phoenix 4 all over again. No. This time, instead of Colossus, Magic, Cyclops, Emma Frost, it's Marvel, Miss Marvel, Nova, and Vision who are possessed, but they're not possessed for very long, as the Phoenix Force recognizes who the true vessel needs to go to, and that is just like how we all expected from the original series, which was Hope. This time it possesses Hope. And she admits that she is the Phoenix. And that's where it leaves off at the end of the issue. And Black Panther, all he says is, Tony, we have a problem. So now Hope is the Phoenix Force, or the one bearer of the Phoenix Force. And what's going to happen to Earth and the Avengers and the X-Men going forward, I have no clue. But this issue was fantastic. Had lots of action, a good mixture of dialogue, and I can't wait to see what happens. And the only downfall to it is really the artwork in it. So I'm going to give this one a 4.5 out of 5. It was a fun read. If you guys want to invest in this 4-issue miniseries, I think it's worth it. It's fun. You never know what's going to happen, and that's what makes a comic like this great. And I wish this kind of was, the original Avengers vs. X-Men, but you can't really do it because of all these deaths, because how do you get all these characters back? Well, wait a second. I guess you can because of Age of Ultron. Anyway, this is Mike Spider Slayer signing off, and guys, I hope you enjoyed this comic book review of Avengers vs. X-Men What If, and until the next comic book review, guys, thanks for watching Comic Book Corner 2.0. Take care, everyone. See you real soon. Bye.